Greetings. Welcome to whatever time and space that you happen to be in. My name is Alyssa. I use they, them pronouns, and I am in the time of mid-afternoon in the deep dark, close to solstice winter, short days. So right now I'm in this beautiful sunny afternoon, which is a rarity. I live in an island region, and that ecology sometimes lends to a little more sunshine than certain peninsulas around me. So I guess that's a gift. So I'm in this puddle of light in this film, in a different space than I'm often in. I'm visiting a different part of the county that I live in. But I want to offer that I was thinking about illumination anyway. As we get to the short days of the year, time seems to change the way it passes. And I get to live my life with two very old dogs that often come in and out of these videos. There's one that will definitely be in a shot here, but noticing how time passes for them too, how we think of ourselves in time and space, how we imagine ourselves. This illumination from within can be really hard to come by. I'll sort of give it labels and names, but it can really apply to a lot of things and be thought of a lot of ways. I say that because I'm just going to go and say the word depression, winter depression, seasonal depression, the blues, feeling crabby. All of those things are plausible at this time of year. I laugh because, again, your experiences are so vast. The words that I use could never quite get to the whole spectrum of things. But I want to give this idea that sometimes when we move our bodies through space, we really are moving light. In sort of theoretical physics, there's this concept of our light particles, in our case coming from this close star, the sun, beaming down on me, and that we don't quite understand. Particle is kind of a strange word to use. Some people think of these as beams or waves instead, or particles that act like waves. I know, a little science moment. But the point I'm trying to make is that as it travels through the literal tissue of your body, you are illuminated. Light moves within and around the particles of you. And so in a certain way, we are all lit up when the sun shines on us. There is something happening, right, when we feel illuminated. And when we live in the dark, sometimes we turn to symbols of illumination in this dark winter, like the Yule log, right, the fire burning bright at Beltane. We turn to even things like holiday lights, etc., the lighting of the menorah, right? These darker times of year we tend to think of illumination, and we seek illumination in each other, right? That idea that you light up and others might see and sort of warm their hands at the bonfire of you. And so I'm really giving a little bit of thought that you might allow yourself in that way to shine. All right. I like to start in a seat. You can start standing or in any position you like. I'm going to acknowledge what we're doing by making chanting utteration, by allowing vibrational action, song. 3 rounds of the seed sound of Om. It's a secular chant, acknowledging the interconnection between all things. If Oming or chanting isn't for you, always feel free to be with us in presence and silence instead. I acknowledge simply the perspective of all the many things and realities that must exist for us to do this liberation practice in this way at this time. To clear and prepare the energy channel of your body, take a deep inhale in through your nose and open your mouth to exhale each A. Inhale, prepare for Om. Begin to breathe in the Ujjayi Pranayama style, in and out through your nose. That term is new to you. It means upward liberating or victorious breath, a snoring or sighing. It sounds and looks a little like this. The inhales expand, take us out and up. The ribs widen. The exhales deflate and gather the navel and the floor of the pelvis up and in. Right? We deplete and empty. Follow your breath, inhaling and exhaling. It is second nature. You'll have to decide to do it. If it feels like you're doing too much, you could always back off and just breathe in a way that feels relaxed for you. Unless you want to make sure your breath is your focus, so draw your awareness back to it again and again. Make it efficient. On your next inhale, flutter your eyes open. On your next exhale, let's come to a hands and knees position, tabletop. And stack your shoulders over your wrists. You can do this from a seat of any kind if load bearing on the hands isn't for you. Inhale to cow pose, drop your belly, pull your ribs forward and up, tail up, chin up. Exhale, cat pose, tuck your chin, round your spine, dome your shoulders. Inhale, cow. And exhale, cat. Sometimes we talk about heat in the body. Follow your inhales and exhales. Heat connected to the breath is another concept of light. Sometimes you're a very image-based person. You can imagine light radiating out from your navel, from your heart, maybe from your forebrow. You could imagine that image of glowing in any color. Consider your vibrations of light being sent out into the world, as it were. The same way that a lamp irradiates out heat in the form of light. Coerces and works with physics of the natural elements around it, without necessitating damage or discord. That it can take up space, it can show what it shows. Inhale into your tabletop position and take an exhale there. Inhale, take your right arm up. Exhale, thread the needle underneath and behind your left wrist. And come to your shoulder, ear, or jaw. You can use your left hand a lot to support you. Move it around. You can take it up and behind your back if you wish. Breathe. And replace your left hand and inhale your right arm up. Exhale to tabletop. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, bend your elbows, offer your heart and chin forward and down. They don't need to come to the earth. Inhale, cow pose, push up. Exhale, cat, round your spine. If that felt kind of difficult in your shoulders, your elbows, you might widen your hands a little out right to left. Inhale, cow pose. We'll try it again. Exhale, offer your heart forward and down. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow pose. Last time, exhale, bend your elbows. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, cat. Inhale, tabletop. Take an exhale to plant your right hand. Inhale your left arm up. Exhale, thread the needle under and behind. Breathing and continuously returning to your breath. If you've ever seen an old-timey bellows, that accordion-like thing that puffs the air into the fire, know that it seems like a force of effort. And again, it's that vacuum pressure of air moving that circulates the heat and the brightness. Plant your right hand down and inhale your left arm up. Exhale, tabletop. You might walk your knees a little closer to your hands, curl your toes under, and inhale to lift your knees an inch off the earth. Feels like a lot in your neck or shoulders. You might pause and walk your hands a little more back or shift your weight more forward so there's weight pushing through your hands. Notice if your hips go way up or your knees lift way up, and just return them to an inch or so. Your spine might be a little backward bent like cow, but you're still drawing your navel in, the floor of your pelvis up. Breathe. You might draw your navel back on your exhales, the Uddiyana and Mula Bandha. That's the floor of the pelvis. Exhale your knees down, tops of your feet down. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow, curl your toes. Exhale to lift your knees. Begin to breathe. Sometimes full moon energy is described this way. Illumination, brightness. Things are revealed. And drop your knees to the earth, flatten the tops of your feet. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, cat. One more time, inhale, cow. Exhale, curl your toes. Inhale, lift your knees. I'm demonstrating this from the elbows forearm, so if you're doing it and your wrist became a lot, you can do it from this place. It's okay to be very rounded in your spine. Draw your bottom front ribs in and back. Your navel up. Take 2 more breaths with a relaxed jaw and face. And lower your knees. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Lift your knees and hips up and back. Exhale, downward dog. Moving down dog. Breathe as you bend opposite knee, pluck opposite heel down. I've demonstrated in some other videos ways to change this. But if you have a wall nearby or furniture nearby, a chair right here, you take your hands up onto it and do your downward facing dog poses lifted at whatever level. And also do these things up on blocks and props if you have access to that sort of thing. Sometimes sliding them against a wall so you don't have to worry about them sliding elsewhere can be a good idea. Inhale up into your tippy toes. Exhale, bend your knees. Inhale, spin your tail up, press your armpits towards your ankles. Exhale to drive your heels down. Inhale to your tippy toes. Exhale, bend your knees like a spring. Inhale, shift your weight forward, that same floating knees action. Exhale, shift it back. Downward facing dog. Inhale, tippy toes. Exhale, bend your knees. Inhale, shift your weight forward. Knees might touch the ground or stay floating. Exhale, down dog. Sometimes shortening the distance between hands and feet changes this. Inhale, tippy toes. Exhale, bend your knees. Inhale, shift your weight. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, tippy toes. Exhale, bend your knees. All the way to the earth. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, bend your elbows, offer your heart forward and down. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow, curl your toes. Lift your knees, flare your tail. Exhale. Down dog. Down dog can be done with heels lifted, with knees bent. Over time, that drawing of the heels down starts to contract the quadriceps and helps us straighten the legs and flare the tail. Extend your spine as you breathe. Even feel rounded throughout. It's okay to notice that you're working often against the architecture. Press into your hands. That's meant to be for balance. Just like you lean back when you're holding a friend's hand, they lean back equally. No one falls. Look for these pressures, equal and opposite, in the structure of your postures and your body. Inhale, bring your shoulders over your wrists, upward push-up, plank position. Exhale, bend your knees to hover an inch above the ground. Stick your tail out. Inhale, bent knee, down dog. Exhale, drive your heels down, classic dog. Inhale out into a plank. Exhale, bend your knees. Inhale, lead with your tail, bent knee, down dog. Exhale, drive your heels down. Pull with your arms. Inhale out into a plank. Exhale, your knees to the mat. Flare your tail, chest to the mat. Chin to the mat. Inhale, cobra pose. Slide forward, flatten the tops of your feet down. Lift your heart. Bhujangasana. Exhale. Bring your chin or forehead down and curl your toes. Plug your knees down. Inhale through plank on the knees. Exhale, child's pose. Hips towards your heels. Your knees can be wider together. You might need support for your head with your hands. Take a big inhale into your lower back. Open mouth, exhale, HA sound. Ujjayi in through your nose. Ujjayi out through your nose. Take your arms out. Inhale to pull yourself up and curl your toes. Exhale to downward dog. Inhale to gaze forward and exhale to walk to your hands. Hang in forward fold. You might grab for opposite elbow. When people say ragdoll, they're also describing the energy. Let the weight of your head pull your body down. Let the weight of your heels strengthen the structure of your legs. Try not to grip with your toes. Use an exhale to release your hands. You might have your feet hips distance. You might bring your feet together. You might do toes close, heels wide. Try them all. There's lots of different good reasons for them. Actually, different structures of ankle, different strength of arch, etc. kinds of things. You can try them out and make sure what you do feels sustainable, kind, repetitive, in a way that you can do it without harm. Inhale, halfway lift. Bend your knees if you like. Unroll your heart from your middle back. Exhale, forward fold. So this is another form of the cow and cat, right? Again, inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Try not to rock forward and back if you can stay plumb on your feet. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. It's harder than it sounds, I know. Soft knees, heavy head, slowly roll to standing. Take 2 or 3 breaths. It can be hard to do in balance as I just toppled a little. Remember, there are no real mistakes in this kind of process-oriented work. Next few exhales, roll your shoulders down your back. The thing about illumination is sometimes, right, like all good shadow work, folks will tell you, it also illuminates like the shadows, what is dark, what we are ignoring. As you notice yourself taking up space, it's okay to feel vulnerable. The idea is that while in so many ways everything is everything and none of us are special, that actually everything is everything and therefore you are incredibly unique unto yourself. We stand in Samasthiti, same on all sides form here, and roll your shoulders down your back, stack your head in neutral. Do your best to relax your arms to hang off your shoulders. Notice if you're gripping your knees because somebody told you you're supposed to lock them straight, or you're squeezing your butt because someone told you you had to tuck your tail. See if you can figure out where neutral really is, where your pelvis sits with most economy, where you have to do the least work to manage it. Same thing with your knees, your ankles. Notice if you're grabbing with your toes. And a lot of this just means you're diligent, right? You work hard. And see if we can find an integrated way instead to work smart, to work in ease, to be kind. If you're not breathing in the Ujjayi form, begin to breathe again. Continue to stoke the flame of our internal fire by taking sun salutations, Surya Namaskara Ekam. Inhale your arms out forward or up overhead, reaching up. Gaze up if your neck allows. Due, exhale, forward fold. Hinge at your hips to dive down. Trini, inhale, halfway lift. Unroll your heart to set. Chitwari, exhale. Step or float back. Chaturanga Dandasana. Let's go all the way to the earth this time. You're always welcome to use your knees on the way. Tops of your feet down. Pancha. Inhale. Bhujangasana. Cobra pose. Exhale. Bring your chin or forehead down and curl your toes. Inhale to press back through plank, table, or child's pose. Exhale to Shat, the downward facing dog position, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Breathe in and out through your nose, hang your head. My life experience, very full of physical tension. Yoga like this really important for me, my process, so that I can release it. Might not be true for you, but often we don't even realize we're tensing our jaw or holding our lip or squeezing our brow. We're thinking about writing our checks or gripping our butt. There's a lot of ways we hold tension. Continue to notice and diligently again and again set aside what isn't you, right? That dukkha energy, the death energy of stress is not you. You have to cast it off and unlearn it. Exhale, step or float forward, arrive on your feet at the top of your space. Supta, inhale, unroll, halfway lift. Ashto, exhale, forward fold. Nola, inhale all the way up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Samasthiti. Ekam, inhale, arms up. Due, exhale, fold. Trini, inhale, unroll. Chitwari, exhale, step or float. Chaturanga Dandasana, bend your elbows over halfway or all the way. Pancha, inhale, upward facing dog pose. Strong legs, Shat, exhale. Downward facing dog pose, breathe. Exhale, step or float forward. Arrive on your feet. Supta, inhale, unroll, halfway lift. Ashto, exhale, fold. Nola, inhale all the way up. Exhale, Samastiti. Again, inhale, arms up. Exhale, folding deeply. Trini, inhale and roll to set. Chitwari, exhale. Chaturanga Dandasana, Pancha, inhale, upward dog. Shat, exhale, downward dog, breathe. Remember, it's not so much what you do, but how you do it. Sometimes why. So consider what it is you are experiencing as opposed to holding, right, the form of planes in your mind of the perfect posture or way. Experience what is to be experienced in the actions you're taking now, the karma of this. Exhale, step or float. Arrive on your feet. Supta, inhale and roll halfway. Ashto, exhale, fold. Noah, inhale all the way up. Exhale, Samasthiti. Inhale your arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. Breathe. Exhale, float forward. Supta, inhale and roll. Ashto, exhale, fold deeply. Noah, inhale all the way up. Exhale, Samasthiti. Let's do one more. Ekam, inhale. Due, exhale. Trini, inhale. Chaturya, exhale. Pancha, inhale. Shat, exhale. Ujjayi Pranayama. When you're distracted, resistant, playing out drama or creating story, meaning into the past, pitching into the future, remember, really all you need to do is breathe and pay attention. That's it. Exhale, step or float. Supta, inhale and roll. Ashto, exhale, fold. Noah, inhale, all the way up. Exhale, Samasthiti. Do 3 rounds and 3 different versions of Surya Namaskar B. You can always pick your version right off the bat if you got one. Take a big inhale in and exhale, bend your knees, sink your hips, Utkatasana. Inhale your arms forward, outer up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, listen. Exhale, fold and step your left foot back. Drop your back knee, inhale to lunge, rise up, arms come out or up. Exhale, hands to the earth, lift your back knee. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, step forward and fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold and step your right foot back. Drop your right knee. Inhale, low lunge, arms come up. Exhale, hands to the earth, lift your back knee. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, step forward and fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, Utkatasana, bend your knees, sink your hips. Inhale your arms up. Still inhaling, stand all the way up. Exhale, Samasthiti. Next one, bend your knees, sink your hips. Inhale, Utkatasana. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. Step your right foot forward. All 10 toes face forward. High on the ball of your back foot. Inhale, high lunge, crescent lunge, Anjaneyasana. Exhale, hands to the earth. Step forward and fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. And step your right foot back. Inhale, crescent lunge, high lunge. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. Breathe in through your nose. Out through your mouth. Always welcome to wiggle and move. Inhale through your nose, Ujjayi. Exhale through your nose, Ujjayi. Take an inhale. Exhale, step or float. Forward, arrive on your feet. And forward fold, inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, Utkatasana, bend your knees, sink your hips. Inhale your arms up. Still inhaling, stand up. Exhale, Samasthiti. Right into the next one, bend your knees, sink your hips. Inhale, Utkata. Exhale, Uttana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha, Up Dog. Exhale, Adho Mukha, Down Dog. Right foot steps, Warrior One. Back heel down, inhale to rise. For Virabhadrasana, exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, Up Dog. Exhale, Down Dog, left foot. Back heel down, inhale your arms up. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, Up Dog. Exhale, Down Dog. Breathe in and out through your nose. Exhale, step or float. Forward, arrive on your feet. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold and bend your knees. Inhale, fierce pose, Utkatasana. Still inhaling, stand up. Exhale, Samasthiti. And we're going to move through some postures and do vinyasas between them, always optional. Remember again to listen to your body. You can always stop the video, repeat something, slow something down. I encourage you really to use your tools to your own advantage, and remember that really you're the one who's you're hosting the party. You get to decide how it goes. Good. Step or hop your feet, half a foot so apart. Take your hands to your hips. Inhale, lift your heart. Exhale, fold 2 peace sign fingers around your big toes. Bend your knees if you gotta. Inhale, unroll your heart, and exhale, fold and breathe. Do a second round of forward folding here in a moment. I'm going to put my hand below my feet, but you might interweave your fingers behind your back, grab opposite elbow, interweave your fingers to the base of your neck. Either way, inhale, unroll your heart. Exhale, forward fold number 2. You might slide your hands below your feet. Inhale, unrolling. Exhale, fold and breathe. In yoga, there's a philosophical system of koshas in which we think about the internal light of our witness consciousness, a part of us that experiences all things. And what is nature for if not to be experienced? With wisdom, we experience good action, kindness to each other, the ability to slide into new and greater enlightenment is the idea, right? Inhale and roll your heart. Exhale, release your hands to your hips. Inhale to stand up. Exhale, stand in neutral pose. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. Take a big free inhale. Exhale, step or float forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale your arms out and up. Urdhva. Exhale. Samasthiti. All right, inhale your arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold and step your left foot back. Inhale to rise, high lunge, crescent lunge, Anjaneyasana. Exhale to warrior two, spin your back heel to the earth and widen or distance your feet as you like, change the angles. Really strong through the back leg straightening as your heel strikes. Reach across the breadth of your arms, gaze out past your front hand if your neck allows. Take a big free inhale and exhale into side angle pose. Hang your right arm to the outside of your right leg. Take your left arm up or over. Also put your elbow on your knee, but notice minimal load bearing. It's not about how low you go, right? We're not trying to slump the body down and bring the tail up. You might gaze up towards your top hand and take another deep breath or two. Good. Inhale to stand yourself up. Exhale your hands to the earth to frame your front foot. Spin your back heel up. Inhale, one-footed dog. Reach your right leg high. Exhale, scorpion dog. Open your hip and bend your knee. Inhale your right leg high and long. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, plank. Exhale, chaturanga dandasana. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward facing dog pose. Inhale, bend your knees, look forward. Exhale, step or float. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale all the way up, Urdhva. Exhale, Samasthiti. Use your breath. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step your right foot back. Inhale, high lunge, Anjaneyasana. Exhale, warrior two. Spin your back heel down, widen out. Take a few breaths, a few moments. Sometimes things change or shift from side to side. Rotate your front thigh out, and your back hip can rotate in a little. But you're rotating actively your inner thigh out that way too, so you can strike your heels down and soften your toes. Take an inhale. Exhale, side angle pose. You might bring your left elbow to your knee, your left arm to the outside of your leg. You might gaze up or over, breathing. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale your hands to the mat, lift your right heel. Inhale, one-footed dog, take your left leg up and back. Exhale, scorpion the dog, open your hip and bend your knee. Inhale, straighten and reach. Exhale, both feet down, downward dog. Inhale, plank. Exhale, chaturanga of your choice. Inhale, up dog or cobra from the belly. Exhale, downward facing dog pose. Take a big free inhale in. Open mouth, exhale. Ujjayi, inhale in. Ujjayi, exhale out. Take a big inhale in, plug your hands, your thumbs down. Exhale. Step or float forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, stand up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Samasthiti. Take a big deep inhale in through your nose. Long, slow exhale out. All right. In Samasthiti, inhale, step your right foot back. You take your right arm with you, spin on your feet so you face the back of your space, and exhale to triangle pose. Stick your tail out, right hand down, left arm up. Again, it's a standing pose, so this bottom arm hopefully isn't doing too much, even if it can touch the ground with ease. Take another inhale to roll your left hip forward, to roll your left shoulder up and open. And exhale. Inhale to stand up. Reverse your feet to the left side. Face front again. Exhale. Triangle pose over your left leg. Roll your right hip down. Inhale to roll your right shoulder open. And take an exhale to bear into your feet. Inhale to stand up. We're going to reverse our feet, so turn back towards the right. And you might change the angle a little bit because you're going to exhale to fold right over your right leg. Pyramid pose. You could put your hands on the earth, wrap your arms around your right leg, maybe one or both. Also fold your hands behind your back in that reverse namaskar if you prefer. No matter what you do, try to trust your feet. Relax your head, your neck, let it hang. You might even close your eyes. Breathe in the Ujjayi form. Exhale, release any grip in your arms. Plant your left hand down. Inhale, begin to twist to the right, revolved triangle, Parivrita, Trikonasana. You could take your feet wider, right to left. You could always have your knees bent so you can stick your tail out. Strong legs, though, still very active, right? Heels plugged down. As you revolve your ribs to the right, twisting, think about lifting your left hip up so your hips are actually twisting to the left, the opposite direction. Breathe. Very tricky pose. Your left hand can be way up on your right thigh. Press into your feet. Inhale to stand up. Reverse your feet. Exhale, fold over your left leg. And again, this is Parsvottanasana, sometimes called pyramid. It means side extension. In this case, the right side gets longer. You're welcome to do what you will with your arms, hands. Steady feet, soft jaw. And build trust with yourself when you wobble, shake, fall, fail by letting it just be true. This time it didn't work. Doesn't really mean anything about the next time. Be amazed the resilience you have, the things you can learn by simply being trustworthy towards yourself. Exhale to let go of your grip in your arms. Inhale like a halfway lift. Exhale, right hand down, maybe on the left shin or thigh. Inhale, twist to the left. You take your left arm up, right? And so I'm going to demonstrate. You can stand up and revolve, right, in this way. You could always be bent in your knees and twisting. Be very kind to your back. Sometimes this much flexion and then turning does not, but just frustrate our hamstrings, irritate our connective tissues, and make our lower back upset with us. And try to find a version that allows you to revolve, and know that all versions may be there in time. The one you're doing now is the one that's worth your study. And the one that most efficiently heals you, draws your attention to the present, is most worth your study. Nobody wins any prizes by doing the poses in a fancier way. Good. Inhale to stand up. And take your right arm all the way back. behind you, and use its momentum to exhale and step your right foot forward into Samasthiti. Inhale your arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. I'm just going to turn around so I can demonstrate and stay polite. You can stay right where you are though. And take a big free inhale. Exhale, step or float forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale all the way up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Samasthiti. Inhale, step your left foot out and back to the left, right? So similar action, and then turn towards your left foot. Bend your left knee, side angle B. Bring your left arm to the inside of your left leg. You're welcome to wrap your arm around and bind. Often I show versions where we come down like this, and that can be more stable, kinder in the hip, work into the shoulder. Rotate your ribs around. Perhaps gaze up. And stay right here, or work your front leg straight and lift your hips up. And step your back right foot up to meet your left and do a forward folded version. I like to wrap my right knee around my left shoulder, walk my feet together, and use my knees gently to rotate my chest to the right. You're welcome to stay in this kind of shape and breath, or to stand up on your right leg. Take your left leg with you, a bird of paradise. You're also welcome to stand on your left leg and take your right leg up. If you're only on one foot, in the next few breaths you might return to 2 feet. If your 2 feet are together, you might slowly return your right foot back into that long version of the pose. We'll meet in the side angle with the bind. Inhale to stand up. Straighten your left leg and turn your left toes in. Exhale, Prasarita Badakanasana, wide-footed fold. Hands to the earth. Inhale and roll. Exhale, fold and push with your hands to meet the crown of your head. Exhale by exhale down. You can work with bent knees, right? Shift your weight forward, press into your heels, stick your butt out and up. This rotating of the pelvis up helps us take pressure out of the lower back. Breath by breath. You might bring the crown of your head down. Inhale and roll, half lift style. Exhale your hands to your hips. Inhale, stand up. Exhale, Kali Goddess or horse. Turn your heels in, toes out, bend your knees, sink your hips. We'll be here for 5 breaths. Soften your jaw, your shoulders. And stick your tail out, rotate your thighs up and out. Try to stay stable on your feet. Inhale, straighten your legs, turn your toes in. Exhale, forward fold. Keep your hands on your hips. Prasarita Badakanasana, wide-footed folding, the B variation. Of course, if safety or prudency tells you need your hands on props or the earth, do it. Otherwise, you're using your hands here. An unassisted or unleveraged form of folding. Try to extend your tail up and your crown down. Inhale to stand up. Exhale, turn your right toes out. Bend your right knee. Side angle B. Right arm to the inside of your right leg. You might take your left arm up and around. And work here, or work here with your back knee down. And work with your front foot up on a chair. The different way of doing things. You're welcome to get creative. If you took a certain path on the other side, you might take it again. Let's see. Yeah, I did a bird of paradise. Listen to your breath, especially when things are difficult, tricky, balance wavers. I mean, what are we practicing for? And if the circumstances always have to be perfect, as much as it's nice to have clean linen clothes and a beautiful open room with a perfect temperature, doesn't really reflect most of my experiences of life or of the times when spirituality was required of me to cope or be resilient. So you might consider particularly, right, for reassessing traumas and for training sort of how not to be traumatized, right, by a world that can re-traumatize us easily and may not be looking out for us as we deserve. Land in that side angle and exhale to unwind. As you inhale to stand up, warrior two. Exhale, step your left foot up to meet your right foot, samastiti. Inhale, take your arms up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward facing dog pose. All right. Inhale, bend your knees, lift your gaze. Exhale, step or float forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. It's good you know what to do. Inhale, take your arms all the way up, Urdhva Hastasana. And exhale, Samastitihi. We find neutral. All right. Take a big free inhale. Step your right foot out and back. Exhale, turn to the right. And we're going to go into the revolve side angle. So you might take your back heel up and your back knee down. You might wrap up through your left arm and around the outside edge of your right leg. When you're doing this action, you want to give yourself lots and lots of permission to do it in a way that will allow you to be kind to your knee, hip, and your lower back. Well, again, it might not be super deep, but you might find over time that you can wrap by rounding your spine, by letting yourself curl like that cat shape. You are welcome to take your bottom arm down, top arm up to work on binding behind your back, to spin your back heel down and take your back top arm up and over into the classical variation of this shape. If your back knee twists, don't put your back heel down. It's not worth it. Exhale to look down and inhale to stand up. Turn your feet parallel. Exhale to lace your fingers behind your back. Inhale your knuckles down and your heart up, and exhale, fold. Prasarita Badakanasana C. And always take a strap between your hands. A sock works, a t-shirt, etc. You're welcome to get a different arm grip, get experimental. Inhale to stand up. Exhale to turn your heels in, your toes out, and bend your knees, sink your hips. So you might not keep your hands interwoven. You might take them down and press your palms towards each other with your thumbs facing your body. But also turn your palms forward and reach your fingertips down. I'm going to do this to rotate the front of the chest open. So let your ribs stick out, let your tail stick out. But also interweave your fingers. You keep holding your strap. Sink your heels down and try lifting your heels up. Try not to go too high with your heels. See if you can keep your hamstrings engaged. Breathe. Inhale to straighten your legs. Exhale, turn your feet parallel. Release your hands to your hips. Inhale, lift your heart up. Exhale, fold. Take 2 peace sign fingers around your big toes. Inhale to unroll. Exhale, fold and breathe by bending your elbows straight out and away from one another. And if your legs like to straighten in these standing postures, etc., try turning on and engaging your hamstrings by plugging your heels down. And ask your quads, especially the insides of them, to do the same. Inhale and roll your heart. Exhale your hands to your hips. Inhale to stand up. Exhale, turn your left toes out, bend your left knee. And you might lift high on the ball of your back foot. Inhale your right arm up. And exhale to come all the way and around. Wrap for that revolved version here of the side angle pose. You could lift your back heel up. You could work to bind your hands. You take your bottom arm down, top arm up. You're always welcome to try spinning the back heel down. Just be kind. There's nothing to prove. I gotta tell you, there's really nothing particularly about doing a classic version of the posture that makes your yogic experience more enlightened or your karma better. It's not going to limit your suffering, etc. In fact, it might increase it. So consider what it is to do a process that cannot really be tangibly seen. We think we know what yoga is. We see an image in our head. What really is it that we're doing by paying attention? Exhale to look down. Slowly stand up. You're going to inhale your right arm up and all the way back behind that big circle again, and use the momentum to exhale and step forward. Samastiti. Good. Inhale your arms up. I just saw the moon. That's why I smiled. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. Take a big free inhale through your nose. Open mouth, exhale. Ujjayi in through your nose. Ujjayi out through your nose. Inhale out into a plank. You're welcome to do this from your knees right away. Notice that that's different than tabletop. Simply by the shape of the hips, it requires a little tuck, a little draw of the belly in. Otherwise, we tend to end up in this nice sort of up dog shape, which just is different, right? Really resist the idea that something is floppy or not correct, right? Simply because it isn't the shape we're going for at a certain time. All right. We're going to do a little bit of plank holding. We're already started, so don't worry if you're like, whoa, this is already hard. Are we supposed to be doing this? You're doing the right thing. My suggestion is to press what's down, down, and see if you can create space above that feels buoyant. Things pressing away from one another as a reaction to the physics, the pressure of gravity. Breathe in and out through your nose. Good. Side plank. Left hand is the base. Roll to the outside edge of your left foot. You can send your knee back. There's also versions of this where you hang the bottom leg, or the top leg is up and over, and the bottom leg is long. Nice supported forms. You're taking the kit and caboodle. You might also consider coming down to your elbow forearm if your wrist is starting to do a little more than it needs to. Breathe. You're feeling like, oh, I do so many side planks. I'm so strong. I congratulate you. You're welcome to take your top leg up and circle as you breathe. Maybe switch the circle. Plank pose. Breathing. If you have handstands in your practice and would like to do that instead of plank, feel free. Kick up, hop up, slow your way down maybe. Side plank, right arm is the base. Remember, we have some different ways of doing this posture. And again, right, if you need a little extra, from any position it feels stable, you can take your top leg in little circles, 5-inch max diameters. Switch directions. Chaturanga, plank position to low plank. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. Take an inhale at the gateway between your hands and exhale. Glide, slide, or struggle to a seat. Keep your left leg forward onto the outside edge of your left leg and take your right leg back. So you might stay here. My right hip's way up off the ground. You can turn to the left or twist to the left to fold down. You may get plenty of stretch in your hip. You can also go straight forward over your left ankle. Kind of like half of a frog and half of a pigeon. Lots of sort of bizarre witch brews going on here. You're welcome to slide your right leg all the way back to pigeon, to fold forward or stay upright. Hang your head if your neck allows and breathe. Good. Press into your hands, lift yourself up. Roll to the outside edge of your left hip. Bring your right leg around. Great, I'm going to turn just so you can see and take your right leg on top of your left. Sometimes this is called fire log or double pigeon. Make sure your bottom ankle is really below your top knee. Knee doesn't need to come all the way down. You might tilt your tail back, your pelvis bowl forward, your hands behind, lift your heart up, hang your head and breathe. You can put a block or a stacked sweatshirt between your knee and your ankle if you like. If it feels supported, you're welcome to come forward and down. And slowly you fold it down, come on up. I'm going to do cow face today, so really cow face might look a lot like the pose you just did. You might slide your legs closer together. There might be a stacking of your knees. It's okay to let your feet come wide. They might tuck in close to your hips, but they don't have to. It's not required. If this is a lot in your lower back, like you feel like just trying to stay forward on top of your weight is a lot, sit up on the edge of something. You can even do this up on a chair and just notice how crossing one leg under, it's like when you sit kind of on one foot and cross the other one over. Maybe it's been since childhood, but that crossing of the leg thing might give you some idea. You're welcome to sit upright. You might interweave your fingers around your knee and again roll your shoulders down, tuck your chin. You're welcome to do the work of cow face arms, especially if you're accustomed to it. You could try just doing the bottom arm. I'm turning so you can see what's behind. You're reaching your back hand, walking the back of your left hand up your back. You might be able to hold your left elbow in your right hand and breathe. That's the bottom arm. It's the one that's here. I'm wiggling my fingers. You would also work the top arm in isolation by taking your right arm, like you're trying to pat yourself in the back, taking your top arm up and over and using your hand to pull the elbow over and down. Sit up tall. If your neck is healthy, you might press the back of your head into your arm and your arm into the back of your head gently. And full kit and caboodle. Hands reaching for clothes, maybe for one another. You could also choose to fold forward over your legs with or without your arm shape. You folded forward, inhale to sit up. On your exhale, we're going to take the right foot and plant it on the ground. So if that is too galliwampus in your hips, you might take your bottom leg out long again. Also keep it crossed up or kind of crossed in a different way, as long as you have one leg up. Inhale, take your left arm up, and exhale, you can twist over your right leg to turn, or you can wrap around. Gaze back over your shoulder. These sunset practices are nice, right? Building the idea of internal light as the daylight goes, taking the light and containing it within a memory of illumination. All right, here we go. Go with me here. In your exhale, you're going to twist the other way, go to the left. You're going to take your bottom left leg, once your hands are down, and you're going to try to send it back into lizard pose. I know, right? What's happening? Right, you can stay here. You can always walk your foot in. Some of us will need to come way up. The right foot is wide, almost as wide as the mat. In this low lunge, you can always pad your back knee and come down onto your hands. I know this is a little bit of a hip circle. I like to teach these motions in the hip because there's so much range of motion, so many different areas. To say, well, I stretched my hips means inherently usually that another part of your hip is active to support. And even in our yin postures, something compresses as other things extend. Press up onto your hands. Walk your right foot over to the left. Half pigeon. I know. And stay right here. Or you can take your back leg and bend it, right? If you did that on the other side, and fold forward over your leg, etc. You might be upright. People like to do back bends in these shapes. It's okay to do so. And if you came down, slowly press yourself up to the outside edge of your right hip. And bring the left leg around. And take your time, right? Depends on the range of motion for you. You can stack the ankle over the knee. Again, things might be quite the same from side to side. They might be quite different. If your ankles really like to fold and you just feel like you're sitting toasting a marshmallow, you might slide your leg over. It doesn't have to be intense to be effective, but stretching our IT band and these teardrop muscles, the tensor fascia lata, and our glute mid and mean, a little bit of the glute max and the outside edge of the hip, as well as our piriformis sometimes gets involved in this kind of thing. If that's happening to you, usually you're going to feel some pressure. You're going to feel something, especially after all the lunging and squatting you just did. And the burden of life that you carry by walking around in your pelvis. Know that sometimes emotional experience is held in your pelvis muscles. Just like we hold trauma everywhere, the hips hold it a lot. Because there's so much range of motion. They do so much to hold for us, to hold us up, to keep us moving, and to keep us engaged in the dance of our experience. I know it can feel very cheesy to be kind to yourself. Little by slowly just start to open the jar. You don't have to believe it all or do it all at once. And just let yourself do as it feels. Pay attention to the experience. Make room for the idea of kindness in the future if it's not available right now. Slowly wrap yourself up if you went down. Let's do the cow face business once more. And some people do this by sitting up on a block. Some people do it also by sitting on their bottom foot, which is kind of a funny position for a lot of us. But if you prefer that version, you're always welcome. Remember, you might work with one arm or the other. You might fold forward or not. Continue to stoke the flame your internal experience, right? I know that's just a metaphor, but I really like it. By breathing deeply and by breathing in and out in the Ujjayi form, even though we're starting to do things that might feel like they require less effort in some bodies or for some experiences. Fold it down, sit up, release any grip in your arms. Pick that right foot up and put it down. Inhale, left foot up, and put it down. Inhale your right arm up and twist to the left. Right, I am notoriously confusing rights and lefts all the time. Been doing this for almost 15 years, right? So at a certain point, just realize that there may be a gift in making a mistake from time to time. Often we think of those leading and creating as perfect. Instead, I feel like there's an important vulnerability in offering what is imperfect, asking ourselves to be patient inside of that time. As hard as I might try, I could never actually create a perfect or safe experience for you. I can give you a realm. I do my best to give you stability in which to practice with what knowledge and capabilities I have, and the trust I have in your knowledge and capabilities. A little philosophy moment there for you. All right, exhale to release. If you round yourself up, and turn, right? So here we are. We're going to turn to the right. Ooh, yeah, and you might forward fold, that counter twist. Once you've turned to the right, you're going to press down and send your right leg back. There's a little shimmy up and over into this lizard lunge, and you can have your back knee lifted or your back knee down and scooch around a little bit. Coming down to your elbows, forearms. My foot is right here. And also stay high on props, or even prop yourself up on your top leg. And the difference between this and other lunges is as we rotate the left thigh bone out, sometimes the pelvis has more leverage to pull forward. We might end up more expansive in the extension of the front of the right hip. You're always welcome to do things like bend your back knee, not twisting, etc. These sorts of shapes as well. Good. Press up into your hands. Curl your back toes under. Lift your back knee. Inhale, gaze forward. With one or many steps, exhale your right foot up to the outside of your right hand. Hang in a wide-footed fold. Inhale, halfway lift, and exhale, slowly squat. We're going to go all the way to the earth, so you can always sit all the way down right away if that's for you. And bring your arms inside from asana or Badakanasana. Lift your heart up, inhale. Exhale your hips to the earth. Boat pose, bring your legs up and together. And breathing for 10. Any abdominal strength you like that doesn't feel of violence or damage. Remember, when you strengthen the center of yourself, you strengthen your own will, your boldness, your beauty. It has nothing to do with an aesthetic of which muscles look toned or not. Your strength of center moves your spine, moves your action, your body's will in the world. As you do this core work, even if it's not physical, you stand and feel the center of your body, and its structure would be enough. Pay attention to how things are. Breathing 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring the soles of your feet together, your knees wide. Inhale. Exhale, fold forward over your legs. Badakanasana, the bound angle. Let your head drag as you inhale to sit up. Exhale to draw your legs towards one another. Take your left leg out long, roll to the outside edge of your left hip, and keep folding your right leg. And sit up on a prop. A lot of us won't bring our hips to the ground. It took me many years, honestly, and I have pretty stretchy quads to begin with, especially if you're strong in this area of the body. You may need to sit up on something so that your knee doesn't take all the pressure, and just take the time to do that, right? There's no shade or shame in the utilization of the world around you. And stay upright here. You're welcome to fold forward. You might also go back onto your elbows or hands. It's okay if your knee lifts a little or your hips lift a little. If it's extreme, you might choose a different course of action. And also bend your left knee and put your left foot down and use that to sort of move your pelvis around to an ideal place. Some of us might come all the way down on the back and take the arms overhead. You might even draw your left knee into your chest. If you went down, try to lead with your heart, drag with your head as you come back up like you're in flash dance. Take your left leg out and roll to the outside edge and release your leg long. Paschimottanasana, don't worry, we'll do the other side. Reach for your toes, inhale, lift your heart up, and exhale, folding. Breathing, pull yourself over and down. You might feel even a little asymmetrical if you're doing some things on one side and not the other. Inhale and roll like a halfway lift, and exhale, release your toes, roll to the outside edge of your right leg and fold your left leg. Again, take the time you need to sit upright. You could also do this sitting up on a chair with your foot folded right against the ground next to you. Give yourself a lot of space. I used to have some very athletic students and folks who played college football, professional sports sometimes, and their quads were just so strong from those really amazing actions that they were taking all the time. This kind of fold wouldn't have been possible. We never would look at their body and say, oh, you're not healthy, or oh, you're not strong. A lot of times it's just so much strength built in one pathway that building enough strength in the opposite pathway to make mobility will be something that takes time. Sometimes 15 minutes of soft time, sometimes 15 years, etc., so on, and all points in between. If you went down, try to lead with your heart as you drag yourself back up. Roll to this time. You really get here any way you'd like. If it's feasible for you to roll to the left and sit your butt up on your left heel, fold your right leg, you might be able to come into this shape right away. You might have to come to two legs out long and then stand on your knees like this and sit in this position with both legs folded under. And also sit with your hips on your heels. And we'll just be here for about a breath. If you haven't found your way to some version of this, some depth of it, try it. And then we'll do some camel posture. So rise to standing on your knees. For camel pose, you're always welcome to do this up against a wall. If you're working against a wall, you're going to bring your heart up against the wall and try to keep your bottom rib on it. This is a good way to keep out of your lower back if you do feel crunched in your lower back or you have pain there doing this kind of posture. Otherwise, to do this pose, you might bring your hands to your hips. Your knees can be as wide as you like. Your toes can even be close, but some folks really that I find, I think, know stuff about stuff. People who I think we can trust often tell us we need to engage our inner thighs. They don't have to be together, but that drawing in and up, that mula bandha action, tends to support us from collapse, keeps us sprung open and safe and buoyant way. Take an inhale, lift your heart up. Exhale, press your hips forward. Sometimes we also might bring the fingers out and the wrists in, hang the head back if your neck allows. Some folks will stay very tall with the chin tucked. If you're back and it feels good and your head is back, you're welcome to release your hands for your heels one at a time. Press your hips forward and your heart up like a spring instead of loading weight into your hands and your heels. Slowly, hands on your hips, drag your head as you inhale to peel yourself up. Exhale, hips on or between your heels. You can also take child's pose if you need to, but try not to rush for the earth. Take a moment to let yourself find center, perhaps with your head over your heart. And of course, if your good sense says, oh, I need to bring my head down, I'm never here not to tell you. Give yourself always permission. Know that your wisdom leads. And I do rabbit pose. You have a safe headstand, no pain in your neck. It's always okay to do that instead. Otherwise, I bring my knees together. This super rounded shape, so we tuck the chin a whole lot and bring the forehead towards the earth. Bring your forehead towards your knees and the top of your head towards the ground. Some of us will have 6 inches between the knees and the forehead. Some of us will have the forehead touching. If you're very round or you have a really long torso, the top of your head might want to touch. I'm going to suggest that you keep, in that case, your chin a little lifted so your brow stays against your knees instead. All right, we'll give it a go. Be very mindful, careful. If you're worried about your neck, you can do this up at a lift at a table, standing or from a seated position so that you don't ever have to worry about your pelvis coming up over your neck. You can do the tucked chin work instead. All right, take an inhale. You can reach back for your heels. Put my fingers in, my thumbs out. It doesn't really matter if you hold the other way with your elbows out. Usually it makes it a little harder to stay domed in the upper back. So if you can turn it around, end up holding the heels that way. And take an inhale. Exhale to tuck your chin and round your spine. Your forehead towards your knees. And top of your head onto the earth. Your head doesn't actually have to touch the ground. If it doesn't get there, that's okay. Keep your chin tucked in a lot. Roll your weight forward. Pull with your hands and lift your hips up. And this way, if you really press at the tops of your feet, pull with your hands, minimal load bearing in your head and neck. And exhale, your hips to your heels to round up. Come forward, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. And still exhaling, come through and roll down onto your back. Gather your knees into your chest. If you feel like your lower back needs a little bit of extra space after back bending, you can take your legs straight up, your elbows to the earth. Press your hands into your legs. Legs can be hips distance or together. Press your legs into your hands and press your hands into your legs. Now, as you do this, notice your tail wants to curl up, your legs want to come close to you. So you got to keep your legs stacked or even a little further away than stacked over your hips. Keep your elbows down and in. Press your lower back down, your navel down on every exhale. You're also welcome during this time to gather your knees in and twist. Drop your legs to the left for a few breaths in any shape you like, and then to the right. We're headed towards rest, so if you know you need to do more inversion, and for some reason you haven't already, feel free to. If you have any finishing postures you like, take your time. Otherwise, feel free to head into any resting position you'd like. You can also choose a seated meditation. I'm going to sit upright. I'm laying down or going to a couch, tossing your legs up over the edge of a chair, legs up a wall, real or imaginary, supporting yourself with props, laying on your side or belly, laying in that classical shavasana, flat on your back on the ground. Whatever feels right for you to integrate the work you've done today, to take up space with the wisdom and experience that you have. As we work to be trustworthy with ourselves, to be kind to ourselves in this way, consider that in many ways, from a psychology perspective, a lot of what we do in yoga is sort of like parenting ourselves. It sounds kind of silly to say it that way, but I know some folks who I think of as really good parents, or that I've seen do really good parenting things. And, I always watch them be very patient and kind and curious. And we see that in the world given to children, and we never think a second thought about it. Of course, the children deserve this. I mean, especially the bright, precocious ones we tend to know around us. But consider that you deserve the same amount of curiosity and patience and leverage, especially as the first sort of wave with your own thoughts and experiences, the same kind of compassion. Remember that whatever you survived to live to this day of practice, you survived to live to this day of practice. That you're here now, right? And that you can pay attention to how things are and own your ability to heal yourself in whatever stage in the process of putting yourself back together you might be in. As you find rest or integration, you might soften your breath, let go of any ujjayi breathing. Even if at first your breath's a little held or choppy, let it just be uncontrolled and voluntary. Close your eyes or pick a gazing point to see whatever makes you feel most at ease and empowered. Do any last fidgets or movements or adjustments or gathering of the right clothes or moving of the right animals, etc., so that you can be as well set up as plausible for being at ease. And you might pay attention to the natural rise and fall of your breath, the natural I am that is of inhaling and exhaling, the natural so hum, I am that, your heart beating. You can always imagine yourself, breath by breath, experience by experience, filling with light. You can do it again and again. Fill your body shape up with light in the eye of your mind. Imagine what it would be like, what verb would take to illuminate light outward. However you do it, let yourself remain relaxed, observant, kind. When the time comes to change, to move up and out of this action, I'll let you know. Till then, pay attention to how things really are. Sahana vavatu, sahano bhunaktu, sahaviryam karavavahai, tejasti navadi tamastu, mavit vashavahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. If you're sitting in meditation or concentration or lying in rest and wish to remain, do so for as long as you like. The time has come to return, you might slowly go to your breath and watch it rise and fall. And then slowly, without rustling yourself away from the sense of relaxation, ease, self-power, begin to ask your breath to grow in its energy just enough to draw yourself back towards waking life. You can follow that into any movement you like, wiggle your fingers, your toes, run your tongue over your mouth surfaces, stretch out or up. You can roll your ankles or wrists. If you're on your back, you might take some time to gather your knees into your chest for a few breaths, to roll onto your side for at very least a few breaths with a relaxed neck and head before drawing up to a seat. And you rise to a seated position. You might take some time to fold your hands in the Anjali Mudra, the prayer position, or hold in the eye of your mind what it symbolizes, non-dualism, the idea that things that seem separate or disparate, like right and left, beginning and end, sun and moon, the meeting place on the network of everything where they are one, right? And really, in another way of thinking about it, right, they are always one, as it were. And we honor that. We honor that all things that seem to be different or that pull us away from what is one is actually, just an example, just an illusion. Our closing chant, the lineage of Krishna and Acharya, is about learning together. May we together be protected. May we together know ease. May our work together for the liberation of all be brilliant and illuminated. May our work seek to contribute to that liberation, all beings everywhere inside of the context of universality, non-dualism, and peace. If you wish, you can bring your thumbs to your third eye, bow to yourself, bow to the given circumstances of lineage, privilege, and practice, and allow you to do this work of waking up from conditioned existence. Thank you for being here. Again, my name is Alyssa. Thank you always for tolerating my real life circumstances. My dogs love to make an appearance in these videos. If you can support, please do. The information about where to contribute is on there. We make active reparations to the Martha B. Johnson Institute. You can look, again, always a little bit of information listed, but feel free to reach out to me if you have questions about that or about anything, about your practice, about practice at all. Let me know, and I'm here for you. Otherwise, I appreciate your forgiveness and your willingness to let me be a part of your space. And I hope the sun shines on your face soon, or that you feel illuminated from within until that time. Maybe we'll see each other again soon. Have a good one.